Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Point 99 podcast, a running podcast dreamed up by runners for runners. If you're new to running, we hope to have topics and discussions that will help you along whatever path your journey is taking. Or for seasoned runners listening, maybe some stories that will have you empathizing with our experience and predicaments. Whether it's lessons we've learned during our journeys, embarrassing stories, or heartstring pulling moments, we hope you'll stick with us and hopefully have a laugh along the way, sharing good vibes, motivation, and positivity as we go. Before I introduce my partner in crime, though, I want to take the opportunity to let you all know that we have someone extra special with us today for the episode, and it's our first guest. We've spoken about her in the past on various episodes, but today we get to hear from the lady herself, the amazing, the spectacular, the wondrous Wonder Woman who is Hannah Runs 93, Hannah Gifford. But that's a little bit later on. It is a bit of a bumper-packed episode, so please stick with us and ride the chaos wave, as Steve likes to call it. But as always, I am, of course, joined on this podcast of pandemonium by the Vapor Fly guy himself, Runner Man Steve.
Hello.
Oh, that was a mouthful, that one, wasn't it?
You know what? Everyone should just basically 5-star this episode just for that intro.
Oh.
That was amazing.
On a second take as well.
Two takes. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not tell you the profanity that come out of this gentleman's mouth when he fumbled the second line.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done, mate.
One line in and I fumbled it, but I've picked it up. I've probably made a mistake there in the intro, but no. Oh yeah, all good, man. How are you?
You know what? I've had a bit of mixed since we last spoke. We're going to go through the 5k BB stuff just after this little bit, but managed to get my hands caught, as you would have seen on the stories, in an X-ray machine at work, yes, on Monday, because someone didn't press the emergency stop button, and that someone isn't me, it's the person I asked. They pressed the wrong button. So a trip to A&E it was, thankfully. We laugh and joke aside, it sort of caught me in sort of mid-palm, but any sort of higher, and we're probably talking 4 broken fingers and potentially losing 1. So it could have been very, very serious. So yeah, next time I think I'll press the red button by myself.
Yeah, I was actually going to call you my flat-handed friend and not the Vapor Fly guy, but I didn't think that would go down very well.
Oh no, it's all good now. It's super superficial and a story to tell. Yeah, we had that at the beginning of the week. I've whinged all week about how rubbish my sleep's been, so hopefully that resets itself. But other than that, mate, all good. Taper time is here. Bring on the paranoia. That's what I say.
Oh, that's it. We're going to cover. Do you want to cover the marathon training first before we get into our PB news, which any of our own followers will be more than familiar with?
Well, do you know what? As we talk about the 5k bit, it was on the What the Fartlek, when they shouted out, they go, "What's going on over that podcast?" They're just trying to outdo each other, outgun each other. I was cracking up. But listen, my 5k PB was an actual target within the main target. So I always said I can do the marathon, and within that, I would like to get a sub 20 5k in that training block. Just because it would be a metric of how the training should be going at that point. So if I stick to my guns, I'm consistent, and I did, and I've got a 5k of 19 minutes 19 seconds.
It was a phenomenal time,
and I don't want to sound like that annoying person, but I got to about 2.7. I knew I was comfortably going to come under 19, so I sort of just took the foot off. You see the time, like 6:37 for the final section. I thought I just took it off a little bit and coasted around the last 0.3, 0.4.
But if it's comfortable, it gives you another day after marathon's done.
Sub 19.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. We live on our runner highs, don't we? And you can survive another day to get another PB and get another high.
Such a buzz, and it was in the presence of another Steve, of course. So I sort of messaged Steve Runs London on Instagram. He lives right near me, and I said I'm going to go for a 5k PB attempt. round the London Stadium. He goes, "I'm coming along, dudes." And the fact that I knew there was someone at the end waiting, not literally just waiting there with his hand on his hip saying, "What's taking you so
Not
long?"
creepy, yeah, not creepy at all.
No, not hiding behind the Bobby Moore statue. He was also running himself, and he was going to try and go for a PB. So we sort of pushed each other on. But I felt really bad because I'm the one that messaged him. I'm the one that got him out of his flat when he had a meeting at 11 o'clock. And I think after about 100 meters, I just dropped him.
Oh.
And just left him. But he was nice, bless him. He went, "Go on, go, you go, dude. I'll be right behind you." And so that was my 5K PB. We'll get onto marathon training in a minute. I want to hear about yours.
That's what I say. Of course, we're hopeful of getting Steve on the podcast in the future as a guest. Now that we've finally opened ourselves to having other people on, he is a future guest, as mentioned in last week's episode. It wasn't last week; it was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, my PB, it was actually a thanks to yourself, because when I saw your PB, I don't know if you want to talk about the message I sent you. I was so happy for you. I was so happy for you. But seeing that gave me the drive to think, you know what, I've got a lot in me today, a lot of energy. I feel really good. Maybe when I get home, I will go out and see how I get on. And I had a really busy week last week. I shouldn't have had as much energy as I did on the Friday. But yeah, I went out, I did my 5K route, and I also beat my PB target, and I got a 21:11, which, considering like 2 weeks before I was struggling with, what was it, 22:02. And I finished my 21:11 and I still had loads left in the tank. Now, that's saying that is a recipe for disaster. But
it is, because now I'm expecting sub 21 on your next.
I know, sub 21 into the 20.
Not on your next 5K, on your next attempt. Because what I want you to go out there and say, "I'm going out today and I'm going to try and smash it." And
yeah,
that's what we need.
I think I'm at that point where I can't go out for a 5K and change the plan while I'm out. You know yourself, you kind of have to go with the mindset of, I'm going for it today. You can't just, well, you could just go out and do the first 2K really well, but you really need to give some consideration to the route, especially the route I do. I've got to cross a busy main road, which is meant to be the main road in the Highlands. So if I have to cross that, if I have to stop or slow down, that's me scuppered.
Yeah. What I found is, because I've done, it's about a 2 mile ish distance between where I live and the London Stadium. So I sort of done a 2-minute warm up, but like an easy effort warm up, and I felt that just kept the legs nice, and they weren't like cold start, if that makes sense. They were primed and ready for it. The vapors were saying, "Let's go, we've got this." And I'll tell you what, they make a difference. But you still got to put the effort in. You can't
exactly.
Say, you know what I mean? It's like you can't put Lionel Messi's football boots on and put one top bins every time. It's not going to happen.
I did have a look after the success on Friday, and I did get home and I was a totally old man. I just fell asleep, which is really odd for me. I'm normally full of energy on a Friday night, ready to go, but no, I fell asleep. But I did have a look at Nike. I did have a look at Vaporflies, and I did consider it, but I'm going to stick with my Hawkers just now. They're working it really well for me. Annoying a lot of people on Instagram with the amount of PBs I'm getting just now. But like I said, in response to them, they will dry up. There's going to be a point where I'm going to stop getting PBs.
You just got to ride the wave when it's there.
Oh,
when
exactly.
It's there, enjoy it. And then a little while where you just don't do really big pace work, nice easy runs, let the body recover, and then you're ready to go again.
Exactly. Well, there was chat today at Parkrun, because I was down volunteering, doing photo duties, and one of the race directors predicts that I will be in the 19 bracket this year. I'm not so sure. I think I can easily be in the 20 bracket, but 19 I think is really pushing it, given that my marathon training, I've still got a good few months before my marathon training starts, so I could really hammer it, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, the thing is, not to want to poo on your parade, but I kind of done it during London Marathon training. So
But most people are normally sane about the that could have gone so wrong as well.
yes, and it's a game of chance, isn't it? It's there were no serious risks taken. No, but all joking aside, as long as you've approached your training
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
in the right manner, so you're trying to get that good rest where you can. You're doing your strength training. I'm a massive advocate. It was made me laugh actually when I was listening to Ryan's podcast on my last long run the other day. And he went to one of his guests going as if she could have backed me up here, and she actually had him on. She was like, he goes, "Oh, you've let me down."
I
I
was
was
just
like,
about to say the exact same thing with
yeah,
the Press Play and Run podcast. Ryan had two fantastic guests on this week, and towards the end of it, not to give anything away, but he was talking about strength and conditioning, and he got an absolute jarring off of one of the girls who's
oh.
a PT, and yeah, he got a little bit of a
I
temper.
was I was absolutely howling at that. It was brilliant. Um, so yeah, it's so important. If you get that and you do your easy sessions easy as you're supposed to, and not going too quick on them, it sort of falls into place,
Yeah,
and you're able to do more. So I know people see like people like myself post and go easy means easy, and no, but it works. We talk about it because it works. I'm about to get more annoying though because my brother and his wife bought me the Science of Running book, and it literally I'm not. It breaks down so many things, body parts, the way we move them. So I'm going to become even more annoying, I think.
but the more you know, the better runner you'll become.
This is true, and also helps with the thoughts I've been having lately of should I go down the route of trying to become a qualified running coach? So that's my little thoughts at the moment. So it might help.
Yeah, cool. But well, we've already touched on it there. Moving on to marathon training, how's it felt this past fortnight? Has it been good? You stuck to your plan, and are you ready for taper?
Yeah. So the first week, a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago was a deload week. So I just come off the back of what it was a grueling 3 week peak. Honestly, I was shattered every day. The body was tired. I was still doing bits and pieces to keep myself energized as best as I could, but the hunger was real, and because it was like instant, sometimes I wasn't reaching for the best thing. I'm talking finishing a run and eating like four Belgian buns, one after the other, and a coffee. Like the calories, but they're not really what you wanted. So I don't think that helped me too much. And then this week, well, I've done my long run on Thursday because I was working today. And I'm not in the game of getting up at 3:30 to go to work for 9 hours, get home, and then go and run a long run. It's just not happening. So I've done that on Thursday, and as my sleep's been absolutely dreadful. I mean, woeful. I reckon I've had about an hour and a half deep sleep in a week this past week. So I was supposed to do 9 miles easy today, and I just binned it. I said, you know what? I'm starting tapering early. I'm starting it today. It can go in the bin. I'm not going to lose anything. I'm not going to gain anything. It's one run. Let's start the taper. So Monday, start the taper, and like I said, try to avoid the paranoia and trust that I have done a good job to this point, and I've earned the taper. I think you've got to start feeling like you earned the taper and understand the reason for it.
Exactly. You've got to go into the marathon confident, happy, in the best possible place you can be. So if you have to sack off a training session, sack off the training session.
Absolutely, because I don't want to go out there absolutely shattered. I mean, it took me earlier on about half an hour just to walk 1 mile to the shop. I was that tired. I'm just that shattered. I thought I can't be doing anything else. What else did I do? Had a sports massage on the Wednesday, so that was nice. Went to somewhere different. Happens to be in the tattoo shop, which is bad for me because I was like, I want to sit down and get one done right now. So no, that was really good. Got a lot of compliments from that one, by the way. It's like are you sure you've run all these miles? Because your muscles in your legs are not really stiff at all. I was like, I promise you, I've done these runs. I have done them. I'm not bluffing. So that's a good confidence boost to know that the body's building itself the way I want it to build it. So, yeah, ready for this taper. Taper coincides with the Easter half-term holidays, which is amazing. But a week earlier, and it would have come into the peak week. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm ready. I'm now just working out a strategy. Do I go on my own? Do I have a little chat with the pacers and maybe sit between the 3:15 and the 3:30 pacers? So head off just after the 3:15s, and if I'm with them or sort of fall back, I'm sort of in that window. So yeah, I'm excited, mate. I'm excited for it.
Good. After some of the messages I've sent today to a couple of the names we're actually going to mention in the next segment, there's some first-time marathon runners out there. They are going to run marathons this weekend, and some seasoned marathon runners, and they're both in equally the same sort of worried mindset of they've done all the training, but now they're starting to doubt themselves. But it's always good to go with a positive mindset and just rock up to the start line and not feel too overconfident, and that could be detrimental. But going with the confidence to know, you know what, I can do this. I've done the training. I've put in the time.
And you know what is so again, I look at a lot of motivational clips or little snippets that sometimes are sit in a press conference. So like, and then they're taken different ways of motivational things. So there's the Conor McGregor one that I shared the other day, where he was like, if you see it and you've got the courage to speak it out loud, you're creating the law of attraction. That's going to come to you because you've told people you're going to work towards it. It gives you that extra drive. So me putting out the 3:29:24, which myself and Craig the runner come up with, the first time round was okay. But when you've been burnt once by the marathon, to then stick it back out there again and go, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to go again. And it's just putting it out there. So hopefully.
But you're going into this one with more knowledge, with experience of it, and fingers crossed. It's not like you want good weather, but you don't want it to be too much. So it is all dependent on the day, but fingers crossed. Massively. Yeah, all the experience is going to pay off.
I mean, well, last time round it was myself and about 8 other people all DMing each other, going, "It's going to pour down tomorrow. It's going to, oh my god, it's going to pour down." And it was boiling. Yeah. It was like overnight. Just I don't know what happened. The Lord said, "Have the sun."
That Conor McGregor one, before we move on, the Conor McGregor quote did have me laughing a little bit, because as you say, if you say it, you're going to do it. And some of the comments I got after I set my PB following your success, it was, are you having a little competition? I'm like, no, we did say on the podcast, we would set a date and we would both go to try and hit our own goals. We're not racing each other because you're a lot faster than I am, and I know that, and it'd be stupid for me to try and beat you. But we did say we're going to go. But in fairness to some of the people that responded, we didn't actually set the date. I just saw Steve absolutely smashed it, and I thought, you know what, I would be. I
sort of had it targeted though, didn't I? I know I had the first time around. My daughter was unwell. And I said, right, when I get to this deload week, that 11 miler, I'm going to basically do a little warm up, going to pelt it out and then see what happens. And then went for a nice little coffee afterwards with Steve, got some beard oil, happy days.
Now, my response, we can't obviously say one of the response because I'd have to cut it out anyway, because it was expletive. I was very congratulative for Steve. I did send him an expletive, but...
Yes. It wasn't very nice. It was rhymes with duck and sounds like a baby sheep.
I did say that. But you found it. You came back finding it funny. But at the same time, I did also say to you, "What about that 19 seconds?" As soon as I said that, and then as soon as I broke mine and I had 11 seconds, I knew you thought, you know what, Steve's gonna say the same to me now.
I didn't. I sort of took the smugness and let it ride. waiting for you. I'll be the bigger guy. The faster guy's got to be the bigger guy. It's okay.
whereas the bigger guy isn't the faster guy for me in my case. Right. Okay, we're going to move on. So actually, we had quite a good fortnight of running. Well, I didn't really do too much, but a PB after coming off of COVID is still pretty good. So moving on, and before we jump into our interview with Hannah, which will be conducted by Runnerman Steve. I say will, it's actually recorded in a few days' time. We'll cover that anyway. We want to share some love to all the wonderful achievers from last weekend. Now, this is where it's going to get confusing again because we're recording before these events happen, so we don't know how anyone's got on. So we're gonna shout them out anyway. It's an early recording, but we did put out a call to ask people where they're running and do they want shouted out. We wanted to share the love and just say that we've got their backs. I've sent so many voice messages today on Instagram, voice notes and messages and such, just to give everyone a bit of a pat on the back. But I've got some names. Steve's going to chime in with a couple of his DMs as well. But first off, I'm going to cover some of the marathons that are going on. Now, these aren't all the marathons or all the events. It's just the people that have come back to us or people that I've noticed on my feed. And I have to apologize. There's probably other people I've seen, but I didn't take a note at the time.
This is going to be like an actual roll call register, people. Take a seat.
Yeah.
Get some coffee. A snack or two.
For Brighton, I've only got 2 for Brighton. I don't think Steve's got any for Brighton, which is going to be a nice short one. But we've got Emily in the Outdoors, who we've mentioned in the past on past episodes, and we shouted her out on the last episode. She is running Brighton. She's done a few marathons. She's had a bit of an up and down sort of training session, but she's got it in the bag. She's going to smash it, and hopefully she does smash it and has a fantastic time. By the time this episode's come out, we will know. And yeah, we've got her back, and hopefully she's delighted with her result. We also have another chap called Paddy Runs or Paddy_runs, Patrick. I've been following Patrick for a few years, or since my account's been created. And I haven't really spoken to him that much, but I did see today that he's running Brighton, so I thought I'll shout him out. He probably doesn't listen to the podcast, but he may come back to this one. Next up, we have the Paris Marathon. And another member of the Loch Ness 24 team is Rachel McPherson. This is her first marathon, and she's had a bit of a roller coaster ride of a taper and approach to the Paris Marathon, because she's had the paranoia, she's had the worries of travel. She got stuck in the airport. She wasn't sure where she was going. Everything's obviously in French. She doesn't speak French, but the Loch Ness 24 team, we're actually called the Who Dropped the Deborah. So I'll call us from that. So if you ever hear Who Dropped the Deborah, that's who it is, Loch Ness 24 team. We have a pocket French lass in the team. And she was on side as soon as Rachel put a call out on our chat group. She was there. She guided her from Charles de Gaulle all the way to her hotel room, like with precision. She was sending her all the messages that she needs to show to people if she needed to. She got her all the way to hotel, and then she got her to the expo as well, which was phenomenal, given that she was doing it all the way from Scotland, doing it remotely. So kudos to Elodie, who runs curls and chocolate buns. But Rachel's doing her first. Hopefully she is delighted with her result. She's going to absolutely smash it. She's put in the effort. It is, as Steve has always said, anyone running marathons, you are just running the victory lap. No matter what time you get, it's still an amazing effort, and you're just going to have to just enjoy the experience as much as possible. Mm-hmm. We also have the running mod, Chris, the Parky runs leads, Andy, and Running Smiley. Now, unfortunately, I don't know Running Smiley's name, but that's all our Paris Marathon runners. We then have London Landmarks, and I'm guessing you're going to have a few of these as well. And one of our first shout-outs actually is the fabulous cheerleader for the podcast, Laura Hardcastle. She is running. Then I have 4 people that didn't tell me they were running, I just happened to see. And that was Joe Runs a Bit. Joe's been a long time follower of mine. She's fabulous. We've got JP Runs Free, who's the editor and part of the What the Fartlick crew. He's going to be smashing out quite a lot of events. He did Sheffield a couple of weeks ago. He's doing, or has done, London Landmarks. He's also going to be doing the London Marathon, and I think he's also doing Manchester Marathon, which we're going to get down to. His fiance, the fabulous Polly, who is Time to Get Fittish. She's also running with him, and Maisie Runs is running London Landmarks. Onwards to a Scottish event that was shouted out to me, or two Scottish events. That's the Glenlivet 10K, and that is another member of the Who Dropped the Dibber team. That's Lorna, who is Trail to Try, and the Tom Scott 10 miler, who is another of our shout outs last week, our community shout outs. Stuart runs a lot. Stuart. Also going to give a bonus shout out to a friend of mine who jokingly sent me a message saying that he's busy running around the kitchen serving up some awesome, amazing Asian food, which I can personally testify to because he works in one of my all-time favorite Asian restaurants, Asian fusion restaurants. So I'll give him a bonus shout out, and that's the Good Food Gamer. Hopefully, as the podcast goes on, I'll be able to convince him to start running with me, and we'll share his story. But Steve, do you have any you want to add to it before we move on to the Manchester Marathon runners?
Slightly annoyingly, you've sort of rattled off even the people that I've seen. So you know, the Time to Get Fittish, Laura, Maisie. I just feel like I've seen absolutely everyone, even the ones that I sort of like photos, but we don't have much, if any, dialogue at all. It's sort of you, so I see you, you see me, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've covered those. I annoyingly wanted to do the London Landmarks, but I didn't get a place in the ballot, which was annoying because I really liked it last year. I ran it with what turned out to be COVID. I still won a 148 with it, but it is what it is. So no, I mean, for the Paris Marathon, there's Happy Little Runner. So Marie, that's going to be her first. That's going to be her first marathon. I just want to say, anyone that's actually doing a Paris Marathon, get it out, put the teeth back in. Put the teeth back in. Fair play to all of you, because not only is it a marathon, but you've gone over there at a time where they said, you know what, King Charles, sit that one out, mate. We're not going there yet. Leave it out, because they've had an unrest, because rightly so, you do not raise the retirement age without consultation, especially in Paris. So shout out to all you legends going over there, because it would have me second guessing whether I should go or not. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be going. I mean, it was bad enough when I went to Turkey on holiday in 2016, and there was literally the attack on Istanbul airport about a week after I was due to fly out there. So that wasn't very comfortable flight. So yeah, listen, anyone that's going to Paris, stay safe, stay well. Don't go exploring. Just go to where you're going to. Do your marathon. Get yourself home sharpish. That's Steve's advice for you. But you're all legends. Everyone's legends. Brighton Marathon. You know, there were people that were supposed to do it that pulled out because they didn't want to commit to the training, because there was that whole moment of time where before London Marathon events took over from it, where they owed money to people still. They didn't know whether the event was going on. They didn't want to train for an event that might not happen. So I hope you all have fun there as well. That's one I want to tick that one off. So I want to do that maybe next year or the year after. But I reckon we can move on to Manchester.
I just want to say, when you were saying about being safe in Paris, and especially with the riots and their unrest, I was going to say Brighton's not much better, but that's a bit unfair. I mean, Brighton's a lovely place. I'm not going to say that.
Everyone that's in Brighton, make yourself known. I will take complaints. I'll be the admin for the week. He shall be reprimanded.
Okay.
We're going to make him run a sub 20 as punishment, and he can't leave the ground until he's completed it. I
am just cheeky, you know. I'm cheeky because the shout out from last week, Steve's shout out, Peta did as we was last week, last episode. She did threaten to beat me up with a baguette. I've just such
a random item.
There was a reason though, because we had the bread chat because I said her name was like the bread, like pita bread.
Pita bread.
Pita bread. So she said she'd beat me up with a baguette.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Anyway.
if she hit you with that, that wouldn't be one to beget, would it? So.
Oh no! Oh
Yes,
no!
that joke. Get in. I've got it in. If I could do, I'd do like a knee slide, like a footballer through my living room floor. But I'd headbutt a toy kitchen.
Maybe that's a new feature. We do a dad joke of the fortnight.
Where can I just slip the joke in?
Hey everyone, Future Steve here. A quick intermission in the recording. I noticed while I was editing that I actually missed someone out, another member of the Who Dropped the Dibber team, Loch Ness 24 team, and that was Gary Dempsey. Gary _runs_, and he was running an absolutely brutal looking ultra on Arran, the Isle of Arran. So I won't say much about how we got on because this is actually after the event, but go check everyone out, show them the love, and let them know they did phenomenally well. So back to the recording. Both myself and Steve did put messages out to see who of you lovely lot were running at Manchester Marathon, and that's the weekend after this episode comes out, the 16th of April. And we did get a decent amount of responses, or at least I did, and I'm now conscious that I'm going to say some of Steve's ones here. He can see the list in front of him. He's no longer there. Actually, he was the anonymous armadillo in my script here. But we have, firstly, and again, you're going to get sick of me saying this, another member of the Who Dropped the Dibber team, the Loch Ness 24 squad, and that's the fabulous Kaylee, who is the Happy Diet. She is running in Manchester, and she's going to absolutely smash it. I know she is. She's been doing amazingly recently in all the events she's been doing. She's been absolutely bossing them all. And I can't wait to actually meet Kaylee for the first time. But again, another future guest in the making. We have Ben, who is Stony Runs, and another Scottish lassie, which is Scottish Lassie Runs, Michelle. She's a phenomenal runner, and I can't imagine the time she's going to get. It's going to be spectacular. We then have the village runner, Grant. I think you might have shouted him out in a previous episode. I think it might be one of Steve's. We have She Runs, She Bakes. I unfortunately don't know what your name is. I apologise. I should have asked, but you're still getting a shout out. We have Jodie's first marathon, and I think this is her first marathon. So Jodie, have an amazing time. I hope you don't go in with too much paranoia and just enjoy the day. Like we always keep saying, enjoy the day for the first one. Both myself and Steve didn't really go with that mindset, but it's something that we can't help but share and say now is if you're a first time marathon runner, don't go with a time in mind. Just go to enjoy yourself, because you might put yourself off in the future, but at the same time, if you get through it, you can always look forward to a time at another event.
Absolutely.
We then have JP Runs Free, again, the editor, and as they call him on the What the Farlick podcast, Cavs. That's John.
He's everywhere, isn't he?
He is everywhere. He's
running.
Yeah,
no wonder if they've broken into the end of the season. He's like, no one can edit it.
Well, that's it. They're on their break because it's running season for like spring marathon season.
If JP's not there, the ship sinks.
Yeah, and I say I believe he's running Manchester. He's running not after Manchester. He's running London as well. He's doing it all for charity. He is a massive charity runner, and if you go check John out, jp.runsfree, go check him out. If you've got any spare pennies, contribute to his efforts. It's all for a great cause, all the best to John in his efforts. We then have someone who's in my DMs on a regular basis with how would you say it? It's banter, but it's banter where we insult each other, and it's really fun. And that's Lisa Dunn. Lisa is a phenomenally fun person to communicate with, and just adds the fun side to life there too. We then have June Duggan. I don't really know June, but shout out again. hopefully future a guest on the show next, and actually a past guest for the Press Play and Run podcast is the fantastic Kilsyth runner, Bob Burrell. Bob has been fantastic with supporting us as well, and even put out a reel the other day that was inspired by Steve's Maranoia quote from the last episode.
He got me. He's like, I was like, yeah, I sort of was going to do a similar reel with the similar sound. I said, I'm now not going to because you got there first.
No, you can still do it. Bob would love it. Bob would.
No, I've got to be a bit more. I've got a couple of ideas. I've just got to try and piece it together. But that being said, someone did sneeze within 3 foot of me the other day, and I wanted to drop kick them.
I've got 2 more left. So we've got Curly Steph X, who is Steph, obviously. Again, I'm not entirely familiar with Steph. I think I've started following her recently, but again, shout out and hope you have a fantastic time. And my final shout out is for another member of the Who Dropped Their Dibber squad, and that's Positive Lassie. That's Karen. Karen, hope you have a fantastic time. You've put in the super hard work. I've been following her Strava. She is absolutely bossing it. Same as all the other runners that I follow. I follow a lot of them on Strava. And as much as there's a few people there that I'm not too familiar with, I do have a keen eye on a lot of their names, regular commenters on my content. So they're absolutely phenomenal athletes. They're going to have a blast, and we hope you do have a blast. But Steve, have you got anyone you want to add, or have I nicked all your ones again?
No, smugly, I've got a couple.
Thank you. Good. Good.
Yeah, you're not taking all of it. You're not taking all the slices, my friend. So back to the Brighton one. I did remember. There's a chap called Joe H Runs. He's running Brighton. So good luck to that chap there. He's a nice chap, to be fair. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. We got from Manchester, Rob the Runner, Rob Gulis. I apologise, Rob, if you're listening to this and I've actually butchered your surname. I do apologise. Super great guy. A bit like what we said earlier on, like the last episode with Person Al Best. Has moments where you can tell things just get into him. So I've messaged him saying, "How you doing today?" Just to keep him fresh. Know that he isn't on his own, but he's aiming for the sub 5. A bit like, okay, Daisy's following me. Hello, Daisy. So he's going for the sub 5 like Hannah. It's his 3rd marathon, and he's lost a ton of weight through just changing his diet, doing amazing workouts, strength training, running, going to classes before work. He's really aced it, so I really hope he gets that sub 5. But I know that even if he doesn't, he's worked ridiculously hard for this. So enjoy your victory, lad, Rob. We've also got Move with Lou. So move.with.lou. She's running Manchester Marathon. It won't be her first time covering the distance, but it'll be her first one at an event. So she done the London Virtual, and is really great because she had a family at the end, and she was spraying champagne everywhere. But this will be her first event for a marathon. So good luck with that. We've also got where's he gone? Mark Durkin. He's doing the Manchester Marathon as well. And like me, he's been sort of second guessing his plan. Oh, what should I do? We've been in the DMs, and it's amazing how we all sign up and subscribe to these plans, and the plan tells you what to do. But you're going, I think I've done this for 6 weeks. I know better than the plan. I'm going to change it. And then, so he's going with that to Manchester. So that will be, he'll ace that. And then one more. Ian runs marathons. You got to follow him. He is so funny. Honestly, some of the gifts he sends me in the DMs They're hilarious. His travel stories are notorious. This chap is always on a plane. He don't get on buses. He's on a plane going here, there, and everywhere, like Coventry, Belfast, and Essex in a day. Is absolutely insane, and he's stupidly quick. But honestly, he's like a whippet. So he's going for that. So yeah, they are my shout outs that I'm aware of for the marathon. If we have spoken and I've not actually shouted you out as I would have been doing, I do apologise. I've basically hardly slept this week.
But if we have missed anyone, let us know in our DMs or let us know on the page DMs, and we will do a video shout out for everyone. We'll do live shout outs on the page.
Do apologise though, if we have missed you out, it does mean you're not running a marathon, so it's a waste of time. Sorry to find out this way.
If we've missed you out, you may not have confirmed that you're changing your name to Steve or Steph off of the back of the last episode.
To the event and they said, sorry, the Steves haven't said you're trying it. Off you go. Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Oddly enough, I've just had an email to say that it's 8 weeks to go for the Edinburgh Marathon runners as well. I'm still so tempted with the idea of going back.
8 weeks out.
8 weeks out.
What's the date for that?
Don't make me do the maths. Yeah, don't make me do the maths on that. It's 8 weeks out. The 28th of May, I think that makes it. It's either the 28th or the 21st, one of the two.
28th or the 23rd, yeah, Sunday, one or
it's always, I think most marathons tend to be Sundays. Yeah, I don't know why.
To the annoyance of Laura and her stories, why can't you just do them on Saturday? I'm not going to lie, I literally had a little thought in my head, but I'll put that thought back in the box. I'm not going to say it out loud.
I tell you, actually, let's do that. Yeah, it's the 28th, Sunday, the 28th of May. So as my previous...
What's the entry fee?
For that one, good question. I want to say it's around about between £60 and £80, but
Jesus.
It's not cheap.
London's 49 if you get in with a ballot, but also you have got to be like...
You've got to get in the ballot as well. Let's see. What's Edinburgh saying to me? Oh, you want this?
I do apologise, everyone. We've gone off on a canter again. But,
we've gone off on tangent. It's it's not going to tell me the price. Anyway, I think from experience, I think it's around about £60. Which I have toyed with the idea of, although
it's on my list.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not in training for marathon, as we all know at the moment, but I am still so tempted. I was very tempted to sign up as last minute for Manchester. It was the accommodation that put me off that one. I was also very tempted with Brighton, but that was a lot earlier. That was before they got taken over by the same operator as London Marathon. And before I signed up for Amsterdam, I was considering Paris being my first and hopefully possibly only international marathon. But yeah, potentially there's still time to just turn up at Edinburgh. But
you should just turn up to Edinburgh and just rock next to Ryan and off you go.
I think that would annoy I'm not going to say that. It would annoy him if I did that. I'm nowhere near as fast as Ryan as well. But if I just turned up, wore the kilt.
First marathon, speed doesn't come into play on this one.
That's true. But we will learn a little bit about Ryan's training, his expectations in a couple of episodes' time. Because with 8 weeks to go,
5K runner.
Well, that's it. If we've got a London special coming up, especially for yourself, and covering as many London Marathon runner names as possible.
Yeah.
That then leaves 6 weeks until Edinburgh. So by the time we get to episode 8, that'll be 4 weeks to go. So it's either going to be episode 8 or episode 9. 2 weeks before the marathon, we'll have Ryan on and we'll do a bit of a crossover, learn a little bit about Ryan a little bit more, because he doesn't really talk about himself in his own podcast. So we want to deep dive into Ryan. That sounds wrong. We want to deep dive Ryan's life.
Don't edit that out. Leave that in.
Oh, I'm gonna
that's
have
what's
to
going to win
leave
us a
that
silver at the
in.
SJA.
Yeah. We want to deep dive into Ryan's life, not into
Ryan.
Ryan.
Ryan, I'm sorry, I've got no part in this. This is a Scottish Steve thing, not me.
I think combined with that slip up and all my run karaoke videos, on my dancing, I think people are going to have serious thoughts about my mental stability. But before we get too tangential and chaotic, we are moving on to the interview with Hannah. Now, it's going to be a transition here because it isn't recorded. We're recording it in a few days' time, but hopefully this all goes well. It'll be edited in, and Steve will have done a fantastic job of interviewing Hannah because he did a fantastic job of interviewing me.
Apparently.
So, as I already mentioned during the introduction, we're extremely lucky to welcome our very first guest to the show today. It's someone who we honestly couldn't be happier to have as our opening guest for the podcast, and someone I, for one, can't wait to hear more about. Not only has she completed a whopping 9 marathons, but she's well on her way to bagging her 6-star major medals, having 4 already under her belt and a 5th in just 10 days' time. A lass that has a smile that goes for miles, 26.2 to be exact, the amazing Hannah Runs 93, Hannah Gifford. So how are you, Hannah?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Really good. Really looking forward to chatting to you guys and being on here today.
Have you had a good week so far?
I've had a good week. I'm back in taper, which feels a bit crazy because I feel like obviously I've only just come back out of taper and I'm back in. So it went from one to the other very quickly. But no, feeling good, feeling fresh.
And it is 10 days you've got, isn't it?
It is. It must be about 10 days. I fly a week Friday, so not long left now.
It's a Monday. I'm not saying which marathon it is at the moment, but it's a Monday, isn't it?
It is a Monday, yes.
Yeah, so you've got 10 days, 10-day countdown. But I'm sure Steve will get to that within the questions. And for this one, as we already mentioned in the introduction today, I am going to mute myself and I'm going to let Runnerman Steve do the interview because you hear enough of me as it is. But I've already had a brief look at what he's going to ask, and I think you're in for a really good interview. So, Hannah, I'm going to leave you with Steve, and I'll dip in and out, but in for a treat.
You say you've seen the questions, but I changed them all just to keep you on your toes, mate. Sorry, I'm joking.
Literally, I was just about to have a breakdown then.
Just like, breakdown now. No more guests. We've just broken the first one. It's fantastic. No, seeing as you were, my guest suggestion, and I'm not just saying it, I said to Steve, he said, who are we going to have? You think of people, and straight away I said, well, the first one's got to be Hannah Runs. From me, I think Michelle, yourself and Lucy were the first 2 that I knew of online and then met at that park run. Which feels like a million years ago now, like right at the start of marathon training. So I thought, who better to get on board? You've got some good stories, and then mainly questions about marathons because you've done so many. You're more of an expert than myself and Steve. So I could just jump into it. Like, let's just start at the beginning. What made you start running, Hannah? What was the reason and why you carried on with it?
Okay, so I was always very active at school and I thought this is a great opportunity. I'm young and I'm fit. In 2014, a family member passed away, and at that point I'd said to myself, right, I'm going to do something. I want to do some fundraising. I'm going to do the London Marathon. How hard can it be? I think I must have been 20 at the time or 19. And I thought, I'm young. I play netball 3 times a week. This is going to be a breeze. So I stupidly, and I will use the word stupidly, decided to turn up on the starting line, having done no training for the London Marathon in 2015.
Oh, God.
And it was honestly the most magical day of my life, but it was probably the most painful day of my life at the same time. I just thought I was young, I was fit. This was going to be a breeze. How hard is running 26.2 miles? Like, come on, this is going to be easy. But
Yeah.
It wasn't so easy.
You say it was horrendous because you'd done no training and you basically just massively disrespected the distance. So you've had that bad experience, and what made you continue? Was it the fact that what could I do if I do training properly, or what was the reason behind continuing and in doing so many marathons?
So I guess now is the time to be brutally honest. So I did London in 2015 with no training. I then decided that I was very fortunate in getting a ballot place for 2017. I know, first time entry as well.
Steve's seeing the sun in Scotland. No one knows what it is.
So I got to the start line in London 2017 and I decided to make the second rookie mistake of trying again to run the marathon, having done no training. I was 2 years wiser, obviously.
Really?
Well, I thought I was 2 years wiser, and I thought I'd have another go at it. Obviously, 2 years was long enough for me to forget the pain that my body went through during the day and afterwards. I did manage to finish it quicker, a whole 13 minutes quicker, but I didn't learn again. I then came back to London in 2019 and had another charity place. So I'd done all of my fundraising for the same charity. So they used to be called the British Lung Foundation, but they've now merged with asthma. So they are now Lung and Asthma UK. Being an asthmatic myself, and my dad's asthmatic, and a few other family health issues, it was great to raise money for the same charity. So I took to the start line in 2019 of London and again had done no training.
I was going to ask you.
No way.
Yeah, I decided I'd have another crack at the marathon having done no training. That time, I don't know what happened. I took like 45 minutes off my time. I thought I was like Usain Bolt that day. It still was a slog. So at that point, I'd done 3 London marathons, and then I found out about the Abbott Majors. But I did still complete 2 other marathons after then with no training. So I have done 9 marathons, but I have actually only trained for 4 of them.
That is amazing. You are my hero.
Now, did you expect a different result? Because you know what they say about doing the same thing on repeat and expecting a different result, right?
So my 5 marathons that I did with no training, I did manage to PB every time. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what happened, but you would think I would learn from it. I went to a park run at the weekend and met a friend who I met in 2015 when we both ran for the same charity, and we were chatting away and she said, "Hannah, now you do all this training," she says, "I much prefer Hannah who does no training at all." And she reminded me of a video that she's got of me from 2017. She's at mile 7, she's cheering along. I run up to her and I say, "Sarah, I don't think I can run anymore. My feet hurt too much." At mile 7, and she's like, "Hannah, like, you got a long way to go. Like, you need to get going."
Oh, geez. I'm going to break Steve's flow here and just say you actually had a really good park run at the weekend as well, didn't you?
I did have a very good park run. I decided, I checked what was on the plan, and I saw that there was a pushed 5K, and I thought I'd give it a shot. I've got nothing to lose. I've done no speed work for, I think, 8 weeks, but let's just go and have one last little blast before we taper back down into Boston. And I was very fortunate. I managed to run a PB, so I was chuffed, very
Fantastic.
chuffed. Yeah, I was really pleased.
That's because you was coming in here. And on this pod, we PB.
I think it was coming on here, and obviously I had the Voodoo carbon shoes on. Whether they work or not, obviously we don't know.
Clearly they did.
I had the Voodoo shoes on, and my coach was there, so I think that added all the pressure there. But yeah, I had a really good morning. Good morning.
Nice.
Fantastic. So basically, what we're saying is over half the marathons, you've done no training.
Yeah.
And we're not endorsing that. Anyone's listening, we're not endorsing don't
Well, the
train.
thing is, I'm
We're
not being
saying
funny,
train.
but she has PB'd on no training here, so there's got to be some sort of fault on it.
I will be honest, and I will totally agree. I do not recommend this training plan of doing nothing for 16 weeks for anybody. Please trust the process, trust the plans. Please do not anybody make the mistake that I made 5 times.
5 times. At that point, it's no longer a mistake; it's a conscious choice. I remember that hurt, but I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. It's probably something I'll look back on and laugh about years to come. But obviously, at the time, I wasn't laughing very much.
No, you laugh at it now. Laugh at it now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the next question would have been, "What's your first marathon?" But you've just rattled off 5 untrained for marathons. So, of those 5 untrained, which one was the worst one? Like the worst one of all of them?
The worst one will have been Berlin when I did that in 2019. It rained all day. It didn't stop, and I travelled out with 2 friends who I met in 2017, all running for the same charity. So it's great. We travelled out together and we'd had a really nice weekend. It got to the Sunday morning, we'd got through the starting pens, and obviously I was in the back pen with my lack of training, and they were in the pens towards the front. So we got split up, and I just didn't really know what to do. So I just sat on the curb, eating my banana, crying, thinking to myself, this is going to be a long day, Hannah, a long day. And yeah, the weather didn't help. The weather was awful, and my husband was with me, and he was FaceTiming my sister so that she could see me whilst I was running. And because it rained so much, it broke his phone, and the phone has never come back to life. And yeah, it wasn't a good day.
Sounds like hell. That sounds like hell.
Yeah, I met a lovely American called Suzanne at about mile 10 it must have been, and if I hadn't have met her, there was no way I was going to make it to the finish line.
Well, that's it. The if you don't have someone to run with, having run both of mine solo, the second one I did have people with me, but I was going for a PB time, and it does really help having meeting someone along the course and just having that regularity to kind of keep you going.
Yep, she was amazing to have by my side. And then it felt like we were getting double cheers, because the people that were with her were cheering us as we went past, and then my husband was cheering us, so we were getting like extra cheers. So it was nice, but I think it was just the rain. I just wasn't prepared for being out in the rain for that many hours.
No. And you know what? The thing is, that's what I say to so many people. During your marathon block, if you look outside and it's absolutely steaming it down, still go out and do it, because you can't guarantee what the weather's going to be on race day. You've just got to get out there and get it done. I mean, within reason. If the witch is out there flying past your flat, don't do it. Do you know what I mean? It's probably not safe if it's that windy.
That's why I endorse running in the snow, Steve, because it's just frozen. It's just frozen rain.
Basically, it's just frozen rain. Just crack on. So yeah, I mean, so you have mentioned that you became aware of the Abbott after the Abbott 6 marathon challenge after about how many marathons of not training for?
The third London.
The third London. So it's marathon 3, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you found out about it. I'm assuming where did you find out about it? At the expo?
So it was at the expo, and then there was a group of us that had met from the same charity, and there was a Facebook group, and someone had put in there saying, anybody fancy going to Berlin in September? There was a group of us that said yes, so we all entered through various routes, whether it was ballot, the team ballot, or through tour operators, and there was a group of us that went. So it was really, I guess, at the expo, and then just pure coincidence that somebody posted it on my charity's page.
And then did you all sort of do it together, or everyone sort of dropped out and you're left on your own chasing the 6 stars?
So in the group originally there was, I think, 7 of us. One has accomplished their 6 star. They achieved that in Tokyo last month. Hannah, I'll give her a definite shout out. She achieved her 6 star in Tokyo last month. And the rest of us are working their way through.
Was that the one that I assumed was actually you? I remember doing one of my runs, Steve. I sent a voicemail going, "You're going to get your 6 star. This is amazing. It's great." She goes, "Yeah, it's not me." I was like, "Okay." It's like, it's the middle of the day. No, it's not me. I was like, "Oh, well, after a proper G'd up sort of voice message, and turned out I was wrong." So that was. I mean, just play that when you do the last one this year at some point.
Yeah, take it with me. Scroll back through and find it. Yeah.
Not doing it again. What of the majors you've done so far, which one has been your favourite? So if we take away the performance, just the atmosphere or the route, what's your favourite one so far?
Easy choice for me, New York. 100%. The whole weekend. So I traveled by myself, and I had an amazing weekend. When you go to New York on the Friday, they do an opening ceremony, and it is literally like being at the Olympics opening ceremony. You can apply to be your country's flag holder or to walk like in your country's little group. They then pick people. And then you dress up as like things from your country. It was amazing. I wasn't picked, unfortunately, but sitting in the crowd and watching people come through, it was incredible. They do fireworks at this opening ceremony. You get flags, you get foam fingers. It was, so that was on the Friday. Amazing. It was amazing. And then the race is very tough. Obviously, the bridges are tough. I'm not going to sit here and say it's an easy race. It is hard. The first mile is uphill. But the crowds, the support, the running through the 5 boroughs, every borough is very different. I remember running through one of the boroughs and there was YMCA playing. People were stopping and dancing and videoing. It honestly, it is 26.2 miles of complete and utter party central.
That sounds insanely cool. So when I done London, it felt like there was a really great atmosphere, but it felt like it was serious. I don't know if you felt that when you done it. It's like there was this atmosphere, but it felt like everyone on course was very, very serious. I can't base it against anything else, but it definitely didn't feel like a party like you just described for New York.
I guess maybe one difference, Steve, is you're in the group of people who train for marathons. You're not in the group of people who go to
just rock up
party for 26 miles.
But I do get told sometimes you're taking it a bit too seriously. I was like, shut your face.
New York certainly it does look like, from seeing other runners that I know of having run it, it does look like it lives up to its name of the city that never sleeps and the party city sort of vibe. I want to go back to what you're saying though, with you can apply to be your flag bearer for your country. Do they break it down? Being a patriotic Scotsman and all, do they break it down to Scotland, England, Ireland, or is it just the UK?
We were the United Kingdom.
Oh, that's boring.
That's boring. You're independent, Steve.
No.
But Steve, if you were picked, Steve, there would be nothing stopping you from making your costume to be more Scottish aimed.
I don't know if anyone would get a giant haggis.
Oh dear. I don't know where to go with that one.
You two could go as the haggis together, but I guess you'd have to fight over which one has to be the back end.
Oh no, that actually now we are very good at mentioning other podcasts, and it does make me think of the What the Fartleks last episode of their season. They were talking about someone having finished a marathon, or a couple of people finishing a marathon dressed as the Aldi caterpillar.
Oh dear, not even the Marks and Spencer's one.
No, no.
Yeah, he went straight down the Aldi route. No messing about. So I want to talk about one in particular, and it's the most recent one. Again, I sort of put my foot on it by going, "Well done, you done amazing." She's like, "I'll message you later." I was like, "Okay." So Tokyo. So like I said, I woke up, checking the app, wiped the sleep from my eyes, and I thought she's cracked it. So I sent a message. Obviously, there was a different story there. So if you don't mind, do you want to share your Tokyo marathon experience? No airs and graces, just as you want to share it.
Of course I can. No, definitely. And I think having time to reflect, my view has changed, but in the moment it does still hurt. So Tokyo was an incredible experience. I was very lucky to have an opportunity to go. Got on the flight, flew over, everything was fine. Got to the race day, and I thought as we was going, I was thinking, "Whoa, this is quite warm. I wasn't expecting this." I'd packed my arm sleeves, my gloves, ready to start. When I got to dropping off my bag, I literally just went in my vest. I said, "This is too hot. I don't need the arm sleeves." Everything was going okay. We went through 5K, we were fine. 10K, we were still okay. Went through halfway, everything was okay. I was checking my watch and I was thinking, wow, we're cruising, we're on for this. Like, you've just got 13 miles to go, but you'll be fine. And I got to 16 miles and got to the water stop, and they said, "No water, next stop, next stop." And I thought, okay, it's fine. It will maybe be a mile. I can run a mile without a drink. I'll be fine. I got to the next water stop and got told again, "No water, next stop." Well, at that point, I was thinking, okay, I really need to get some fluid on. It was hot. It was much warmer than anticipated, and a lot warmer than I was expecting, and obviously a lot warmer than what I'd trained in, having trained in a British winter. So I think in the end it had got to about mile 19, and there was clearly no water en route for the runners that were around me. They had their local like the energy drink, which was Pocari Sweat. I hadn't trained with it. I'd heard very mixed reviews about it, and I didn't think it was a wise choice to try something new on race day when I already know that I have quite a sensitive belly. So I chose not to take the energy drink, hoping that there would be water soon. Next thing that happens is we get to the finish line. I finish. Obviously, most important thing is I've stopped my Garmin. So I've got a time. And then next thing I remember is I wake up in the medical tent. I think I'd got so dehydrated that there was no water. I didn't want to take the Pocari Sweat on, and I couldn't stomach my gels because I took one and it bounced straight back up. So I ended up in the medical tent, just very dehydrated, I think was the issue. Which obviously was not what I was aiming for. When I'd got through 16 miles, my watch said I was on for 4:48, and I was thinking, this is perfect. This is going good. Yes, I knew I still had 10 miles to go, but I was feeling good. I think I just got very dehydrated very quickly. There were runners that were behind me who I then managed to speak to in the evening, who said there was water on course, but it was being given to them from tiny water bottles, whereas the rest of the other stations that I'd been to were much larger bottles that were being poured in. I think obviously what had happened was it was much warmer than expected, and the runners ahead of me, and I don't blame them at all, they took on sufficient water for themselves because of the conditions that we were in. I think the race organisers just weren't fully ready for the heat, maybe. But I finished in 5 hours and 3 minutes. I was 2 minutes off of a PB, and taking in everything, the jet lag, the short time that I'd had in the country before the race, I am absolutely chuffed, and there is definitely stuff I will take away from it. And hopefully it won't happen next time.
Well, no, and like I said, I remember I said to you, considering all of that happened to you, and you still got so close to a PB and the sub 5, to me says you was in sub 5 shape, and you sort of picked it back up again for your next marathon. You're back on the bike straight into it, which is great, because some people could have just left it and go, well, I'm not doing it again. That was awful. I was a bit worried about Tokyo. I can't lie to you. I was a bit worried in general, because I was hearing that people couldn't take their own bottles with them. They weren't allowed hydration vests. They weren't allowed even like a soft flask and a flip belt. And I was like, well, they don't have enough water then. And to hear they actually ran out of water, it's like going to Nando's and they've run out of chicken. It's just, I was genuinely concerned. I was genuinely concerned. Apparently, Bluey is the winner, by the way, guys. Bluey is the winner.
I think, they were very strict on what you were and weren't allowed to take in. So your bag was searched as you went through the security, and all that you was allowed was 200 millilitres, which could either be in a cardboard box or in like an aluminium packaging kind of thing, but you couldn't take anything bigger in. So even when you were trying to take fuel on before, it was quite difficult. But obviously you respect the rules of the race, that what the rules are when you sign up, and you have to work with what you've got.
Yeah, I get that. Each country's got their own sort of way of working, and apparently also someone said there was no toilet for the first sort of mile or 2 miles to the start line. Some crazy rules. But then again, there's some races over here, like the big half, where you first start and you basically run through like what feels like a 500-mile tunnel with no one in it, and it's absolutely roasting. So I guess it's one of them things. But you made it through, and it's not put you off, which is the main thing.
Definitely not put me off. Definitely not.
I'm just glad that you actually started training, though, Hannah, because could you imagine if you hadn't started training and then you went to Tokyo and had to experience all that on top of it?
So in Tokyo, the cutoffs are so strict. And I did have those playing in the back of my mind. I think I was fortunate that I didn't start in the very last pen. I started in the third from last pen, but the cutoffs for Tokyo are incredible.
Savage.
If you miss it by 1 second, that is it, game over. It's not like London or some of the other bigger marathons where, yes, if you're caught by the sweep, they will let you continue on the path. You'll still get to finish. If you are caught by the balloon people, as I was calling them, because you could see them because they had helium balloons attached to them. If you were caught by the balloon people, that was it. That was game over.
It's like a version of Hunger Games where you've got the Japanese balloon people chasing you to make sure you get to the end in time.
It literally was. And I knew some people that had to run in massive positive splits to get through the first few checkpoints, because they were much harder on the time restrictions, that when later on in the race they could have eased off a little bit. But some people I know were having to push for 10k PBs to get through the time in mats, which is it's really tough. But like I said, you know what the rules are when you sign up, and you have to be ready to train for it. So I guess, yes, I definitely am pleased that I decided to do some training this time round, because if I should have gone to Tokyo in 2020, which obviously then technically would have been my first marathon I'd ever trained for. So if I was still with the same mentality that I'd had for the first 5, there was a chance I may have even taken to the start line with no training. So I don't know COVID was a bit of a blessing for me because it made me do some training rather than just turning up on start lines and hoping I can survive.
Yeah, with London, it's funny because I was actually just reading, because they've put out the event guide this evening, and I was just looking at. I was interested to see what their cut-off time is, because I listened to a different podcast, listened to 40 runs, and they're discussing literally about Tokyo, because they said they were literally the stories of people just being chucked into minivans and going, right, you've not made it, move, off you go. Actually, London is 8 hours once the last lot have gone at about 11:30, but they won't kick you off the course. They'll just have like sort of towel walkers with you to usher you down through. So whilst they're like basically giving London back to the streets of London back, they'll have people with you to go, well, we're with you, but you're probably going to miss the cut-off time, so to speak. So at least there's more leniency in there.
I think. Sorry, Steve.
No, I was going to say it's one of those ones where London is famous for being in the news for where people go and do really over the top charity related. Like there was a guy in a diving suit, a classical diving suit, and it took him, I don't know how long, like a week or something, but it's famously known for that's where people go to do the world record attempts for usually for charity.
Yeah,
absolutely, and fair play to London Marathon. They've put a lot of allowances, like what should be there for women, and a massive part of their write up today was all about what they're making sure, women who maybe if they're on their period, they've got facilities and products ready for them and helping them in every way possible, which it should be. It shouldn't be like 2023 and we're only just seeing this sort of stuff introduced. So I think London London Marathon event do a very good job.
That'll take you on to I would imagine is going to be your next lot of questions though, Steve. And with Boston, they've recently only just changed their deferrals as well for pregnancy.
I've seen the bits online about the changes to the rules, and I know that I follow one of the ladies on Instagram, Fiona, and obviously I know that she was championing the changes to be made around pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and deferrals being available to that group of individuals. And I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. Obviously not all of the majors do offer it at the moment, so hopefully it is something that can not just be done by the majors, but be looked to be done by other marathons.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Boston, you trusted me with your secret. Like, do not tell anybody. I was like, I'm not going to, I promise. And I nearly slipped up on one of our podcast episodes when I was giving you a shout out, and I literally had to read it straight in. I was like, make an excuse. No, that was nothing, Steve. Sorry, mate. That was So when did you find out about Boston?
So I got my place for Boston a long time ago. I was training for Berlin, still mid training, and hadn't known for that long. And then I was contacted on the 9th of August by 209 Events to say that my name had been drawn in the ballot that they were doing for their Boston places. Obviously, I knew I had to get to Boston to complete the 6 majors, but Boston was not on my scene for 2023. My 2023 plans were to go to Tokyo and then to go to Chicago and then to find a way for 2024 or 2025 to get to Boston, because realistically, I'm obviously I'm very new to the training, as we've gathered, and I thought that it was going to take me a long time to get a Boston qualifier. So I started to look for alternative routes, and I was just very lucky. I rang my husband and I said, "Oh, I've been given a place for Boston," and he was like, "Great, yay!" Like, he's not a runner. And I said, "Well, how am I going to pay for it?" And he was like, "Just stick it on the credit card and we'll worry about it later." I was like, "Okay, yeah." So I got my place in August last year. I kept it to myself. I told a small group of people. And then when I'd got home from Tokyo, I said to myself, "Right, honey, you're going to have to tell people now, because people are going to wonder, where you've gone and what you've been up to since Tokyo. So and the response that I got was amazing. I think the small group of people that I'd told were pleased that I'd finally then told everybody. But it was, it was great. The response that I received was good, and I was a bit worried that I might have got a few people that said I didn't, I guess, deserve to be there because I don't have a Boston qualified time, but doesn't matter how you get there.
Steve, what do we call those people?
You can say it. I've been clean this whole episode and I'm not going to sully it now.
Oh, refer to later on, guys.
Yeah.
But I was a bit worried, but I didn't, and I guess that's probably from the community that I've got around me. It is that just that pure support. So it's I'm excited.
And that's what we always talk about. The running community will always support. It's always people that you don't actually know that give you the most support. Like, yeah, Steve, you're running. We know, mate. All right, we know you like running. Jesus Christ, go tell Instagram about it. Oh,
so
gee.
That's obviously had a knock-on effect to your original plan of Chicago. So is that now the plan to do that in 2024? And if it is, are you going to take as many members of your friends and family as possible, because that's going to be one hell of a party?
So I have decided I'm going to go for 2023 because I know I'm so excited. It does mean that, all being well, I will be putting on them shoes and running them 26.2 miles, knowing that I'm going for my 6-star. It's been a long time coming, and I have trained, and I've trained hard, and I think I'm ready now to have a crack at it. My plan is to go to Boston. I am still a little undecided as to whether I might have another crack at my sub-5.
Now, from an outsider looking in, I would say if you don't hit your sub-5, say it's on purpose. No matter what happens, say it's on purpose, because if you can hit your sub-5 on your final star, wouldn't that just make everything like super phenomenal?
I know, and I think part of me just thinks, from what I've heard about Boston, I'm just going to go and I'm going to party my way for the whole 26.2 miles. I know a few people who are going for their 6-star, and we're all in the same pen together, and I think we are all looking for sort of somewhere between that 5 hours 10 to 5 hours 20. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how I feel on the day. If I feel fresh, if I feel good, I think I might have another go at it. And if it all goes wrong, then I'll just say, well, I did only do Tokyo 6 weeks ago. Like, I'll just say that. But yeah, I think
free card.
Wow. It is. Oh yeah, I think I've got some bits booked to do in Boston. So I'm meeting up with some friends who I met in Berlin last year, which will be really cool. And I'm meeting up with somebody else who I've been chatting to online since 2020. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to the baseball on the Sunday, and I'm going to consume, I think, my body weight in hot dogs.
I've just done the nerdy thing. I've looked up the gradient elevation charts for both Boston and Chicago. It's a shame it's not the opposite way around. It's a shame. That Boston route is very similar to the Loch Ness Marathon, where you start at such an elevated position and you get to commit to those downhills, where Chicago doesn't look like it's going to be much fun. It's just very flat.
I know. So part of me has said, and I've spoken to my coach Jess quite a few times about it, and I think we've just kind of agreed on, I'm going to go to Boston and I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to have some time off in the summer to work on some shorter distances, and then I'm going to go literally hell for leather, and I am getting my sub-5 in Chicago with my 6-star.
Yeah,
it'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it will be. But
and the thing is, Boston as well. That's like a bit like New York, as you explained it. It's one of the perfect ones to go for a party, because it's normally on Patriots Day, isn't it?
It is on Patriots Day, yeah.
Yeah, so it's already a party vibe anyway.
I'm back being nerdy again. There's a really nice picture here of Boston, Chicago, Berlin, New York, and London. They haven't added Tokyo to it yet, but Chicago is very nice. That's a very nice route. Now I'm seeing it in its all its glory. That could be fun. That could be good.
It could be. Well,
It will be.
I was
It's not
gonna.
going to be could be, Steve.
No,
Will
no,
be.
no, no. I was gonna. One of the questions was gonna be. So, Hannah, what's your favourite marathon? We've said New York was
Yeah, New York.
absolutely insane, and it's made me. I want to do like a marathon on American soil. I just don't want to pay for it. So I'm thinking if I get quick enough, maybe like one of these sports shoes companies can just say, "Hey, do you want to go run a marathon?" I'm not that quick enough. I'm not quick enough for that. I'm not cool enough for that. By the way, not at all. I'll stay in my lane. I'll stay in it. Maybe one day I'll have a little crack at one of them. But so after you've done the 6 star, do you sort of know what you're looking to do after? Will that be the end of the international marathons or the end of the marathon journey? What do you know what your plan? Or have you not thought that far ahead?
I have thought that far, and obviously had a few people say to me, with Abbott thinking of adding a couple of extra races. Once I've got my 6 star, am I going to go for the 7, the 8, the 9, whatever they decide to add? And I'll be honest, no, I'm not. I think once I'm done in Chicago, I think the marathon shoes are going to be hung up. And I know some people will say that I'm saying this now and then next year I will sign up for something else or I'll do something else. But I think the marathon shoes might be hung up. It's such a big commitment. Time wise, it really is tough.
It's not just the time, it's the expense as well.
Yeah.
It's different for someone who's run their first marathon, like both myself and Steve had done, and gone, I don't want to do that again, and being in a really sour place about it because of the experience that we had. But for someone who's gonna have run your 6 star, and that'll be 11 10
Yeah.
11 marathon.
Yeah,
11
marathon
marathons by
number
then.
11. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a well-deserved rest by that point.
I think it will be time to hang the marathon shoes up. I got a voice note from my coach yesterday, and she said, "Oh, we can talk about it later on in the year." And I'm still sitting there going, "No, I think it might be it, but I don't know." Seeing as I decided to do 5 marathons untrained, part of me thinks that I'm going to get some other silly idea in my head and try and do something else that I'm unprepared for. Most likely an ultra, or I'd love to have a go at an Ironman. But
no.
I know.
Come on, Hannah. Now there's not training for a marathon, and then there's not training for an Ironman.
I know. But we'll see. I guess, yeah, the running shoes will definitely not be put away forever, that's for sure. It's definitely become a big part of my life, from a mental and a physical, and the community. I couldn't be without the community. The friends I have made from even running for the British Lung Foundation in London in 2015. I have had friends that I made then that I still chat to now. Friends that I met in 2017, Jason and Damo, who have been with me we've been to Berlin twice. We meet up regularly. I wouldn't be without the community. It's
that's a really nice
amazing
photo of yourself and Damo you've got on your Instagram as well.
Yes, so he paced me for the London Landmarks half marathon, and everybody, so he was dressed, if you've not seen the photo on my Instagram, he was using it as a training run because he was going for the world record attempt to run the quickest marathon dressed as an ice cream. So we did the London Landmarks half marathon, and I think people thought that I was his pacer, but it wasn't. He was pacing me to a PB. And everybody was like, "Oh, great for pacing your friend, great for pacing your friend." And he's obviously in the costume going, "It's me pacing her." But no, we had a great day. And yeah, I think the people that I've met from either the community, Instagram, running, going to park run, running at races, or yeah, from the charity are honestly friends for life. Some of them I wouldn't be without them.
No, it's so nice. You know, I've been part of different communities when I was young, and I was obsessed with trying to get get big because that's what society told you need to be as a man, get big muscles and what it was never a welcoming, unless you're one of the big guys. It's never a welcoming environment at some of the gyms, and I can see why some people get sort of intimidated by even the thought of going into them because they are. But the running community has been so good. I mean, yourself, Hannah. I remember Lucy popped it out there and said who would be interested. I think about 40 people said yes, and only 4 of us turned up. But you turned up with no ambition to run at all. I think you was at the 18-mile stage at that point. You had an 18-mile run the next day, but you still showed up just to show support and have a coffee afterwards. So you sort of embody that, and you can see that on your Instagram. So I can vouch, Steve, that Hannah is exactly in person as what she is online. It's rare to get that.
You guys are just rubbing it in. I'm so rural that there's no one around me to meet up with. I have to wait for my team to come to the next event for me.
No, but it was true. It was a great day, great morning, very early in training, and so yeah, a great start to it, and hopefully meet up again soon at some point. So the next question, and you can't say don't train for a marathon because you've said that already. What would be your one piece of advice to anyone setting out on their running journey? Let's just make it more specific, their marathon journey. But you can't say, right, make sure you train because we covered that already. So have a little think. What we're not going to let you out of it that easy. Okay, we're not going to say see previous answer. Right. So no, seriously, what piece of advice would you give to anyone setting out on their journey?
Oh, that's a tough question. I honestly think I would tell them to enjoy every minute. Yes, there are some runs that are really tough. They really stink. They really hurt. You come home and you sit down, you cry, and you think I can't do it. But you have to stick with it and make sure that you enjoy it. And on the day, embrace it and everything that comes with it. It's honestly, you soak it up because you only get that opportunity once to do your first ever marathon. So make sure you soak it up.
Yeah, I think that I would have benefited from that advice. I did soak up mine, but I really didn't have a good time about it. And I think if I'd not run for time and I'd just enjoyed myself and enjoyed the atmosphere, I think that's spot on.
And I totally agree. Like, unless you are out there going for these world records, racing with the elites, just enjoy it. Do you know what? Some days it doesn't go right, but it's about enjoying it and celebrating what you've achieved to even get to that start line, because it is a lot. It is a lot that you have put in to even get to that start line.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't listen to that advice. Everyone's saying, Steve, just, it's your first marathon. Forget what you think you know. Think it's not just 13.1 and 13.1. You are going to get brutalized as you get towards the end of it. And I did. I broke the golden rule, by the way. I was scratching my head for ages thinking, why did my hip go? And I didn't do that many long runs. And I was like, Steve, you literally bought a new flip belt at the expo and wore it on the day. And you question why your hip was hurting. It was just so tight. I was like, you idiot, mate. Honestly. Yeah. You think, oh yeah, don't change your trainers. You don't think of a flip belt, And I thought, oh, that's a nice flip belt. Bought it because you buy unnecessary rubbish at the expos. That's what it's there for. And yeah, so I wish I enjoyed it more. I had Emma, lipstick and trainer, saying, don't worry about the time, just enjoy it. And I enjoyed up to 16 miles. And afterwards, I remember going through sort of Canary Wharf areas. I was like, go on, Steve, you can do it. I was like, oh, shut up, mate. This is hurting. this is hurting. I just want to cry. I just want to go home. Okay,
it goes back to what you said at the beginning, though, Hannah, with your first marathon. I think we all have a tendency, or when you come in to run marathons, when that's your goal, you have that naivety of, how hard can it be? I can run. Running that far, it's going to be hard, but I should be able to do it. And it is the naivety of, I'll just go do it and I'll smash it at the time.
Yep, no, you are totally right. It definitely was I just thought I'm young, I'm fit. Come on, this gonna be a breeze. Like Hannah, you've done cross country at school. Like you don't even know how far that is, but it definitely it's got to have been close to 26.2 miles. Like this is you're gonna cruise this. You'll be fine.
No, honestly, it was awful. I remember going through the training and I thought, yeah, I've hit a 1:38 half marathon. I'm in that zone. I'm in that area. Yeah, this will be really good. And you don't take into the fact that you're probably in a half marathon, you're actually running faster than what you'll set out during a marathon because you've got to sort of, spread it over many, many more miles. I'm hoping this training block so far, which has gone well, will replicate that on the day itself.
I think that kind of almost it's the same with what Ryan was saying, Steve, where he's at that point where he's running half marathon and he can't visualize in his head running a half marathon again. I would like to get Hannah on board here with me when you the more you run the distance, the more you get it in your head of, yeah, I can do this. This is normal now. But you didn't really do that for the first three. It took you a while to get even training. So
I just didn't learn. I think, I don't really know. If I look back now, I honestly don't know how I actually got through those 5 marathons with no training. I don't. It must have just been pure determination and grit. It must have been.
Did you get injured from any of those?
No, I've had more
Wow.
injuries now whilst I've been training than I had when I didn't train.
So now this podcast has taught
Sounds
anyone
like saying don't train again.
Well, that's it. The podcast has taught people, get COVID, you'll run PBs, and also don't train for things and you'll smash it out.
No, that is most definitely not what I am encouraging. I just think instead of doing 16 weeks worth of training, I just had a 16-week taper and then got to the start line feeling super fresh.
Super fresh.
Yeah.
Super fresh, super dope. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing. Oh, mate. So when you go to Boston, I hear you're racing Elliot, yeah?
I am, obviously.
Yeah, race Kipchoge. Yep, same. I mean, Mo Farah keeps following me around races, so
I hear Elliot is only going for a course record. I'm going for a world record.
Was it 2:03 is roughly is the time for there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't believe, by the way, that a man with his record hasn't got the 6 star yet. That's insane to me.
I know, I'm going to get my 6 star before him. How crazy is that? Because I think he has New York left to do, but it means I'm going to get mine first.
Surely
you're going to beat Kipchoge to the 6 star.
Surely he should be getting good for age, sort of time relating there.
If he doesn't have good for age,
he missed that by a few seconds, mate.
But with that course gradient, that's going to be that could also be a phenomenal event to be at, with undoubtedly a record smashed for the elites also.
I have heard that he is going for the course record, so it will be interesting. It will be interesting to be there, and obviously I was fortunate enough to see him break the world record last year in Berlin and be there and run that same race, albeit a few hours behind. But
so what you're saying is you're that lucky charm he needs on the course. That's what we're taking there. That's good.
I must be. Yeah, goat number 2.
Oh, that's brilliant. What's the most important piece of kit that you could not do without, Hannah?
My watch. I could not be without my watch. For some, if people have seen my splits on when I've been out for a long run, keeping to a pace is my thing. I plug it into the watch, and the watch is the boss when I'm out. It vibrates if I'm too quick, it vibrates if I'm too slow. I get in the pace, I lock in, and I stay where I am. Obviously, I love the watch when I'm running. I don't love the watch so much when it then vibrates a few hours later and says move, because I think I have done quite a few steps this morning already.
Yeah, you know what? Thing is, my watch, I used to be like that. It would buzz at me and say, "Hey, you're going a bit too fast." And I go, "Oh, mind your own business." I sort of ignore it now. I'll do what I want. Leave it alone. I'll tell you what, though. I don't know if you found it, but when you go around London, the GPS just says, "No, not me, mate. Not doing it." No, it just gives up on you completely. Just disappears on you.
I think it's because of the buildings.
And that's why I've had to learn to run to. I've been running to feel like learning the paces a bit better rather than relying on the watch, because I don't know about New York and whatnot, but London, it's just chaos.
That's what I was going to say. That's a talent that I've slowly been finding is actually quite beneficial, because I don't plug in my training into my watch. I purely go by feel at the moment, and it can be quite satisfying when you do that. But at the same time, if you're used to doing vibrations on your watch, then it's going to be hard to try and run to feel.
Yeah, I've done a few runs to feel, and I just find it I find it quite difficult. Whereas if I've got the pace on the watch, I'm quite comfortable, and it probably is. Yeah, it's something that I'll stick to for the time being.
Now, with the watch still in mind, and because we've discussed it in the past, and it irritates a lot of the listeners, are you miles? Are you kilometers? Or are you both?
I am miles, 100%.
Yes, come on.
But obviously, when I'd got to Tokyo, it was kilometers. So I was stood on the start line trying to sort my watch out, changing it from miles to kilometers. And then obviously the pace I was used to seeing was, 10 plus. It then was like 5 something. And I was thinking, oh my God, I've gone out too quick. But obviously it was because it was in kilometers and not in miles.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm a miles girl forever.
I'll tally that one up to another miles then.
Happy there. I'm just glad she didn't say I'm a miles person, but I let the watch buzz on kilometers, because that absolutely rattles me. It spins me. I can't understand it. I refuse to understand it. It's insane. I think I've done a mile. I've not done a kilometer. What are you doing, you stupid watch? I can't do it. Okay, so last question. It's time gone pretty quick, to be fair. So on the Point 99 podcast, we always shout out some accounts who, as Ryan would say, you don't skip past. But we want to ask. I want to ask you, because we'll do our usual bit of give some shout outs. But as you've mentioned, you are well in with the community, so we want to give you the opportunity to give 3 accounts a shout out. I mean, if you want to go 4 and 5, knock yourself out, you're the first guest. But yeah, people that and it can't be me or Steve, I know we're amazing, we can't be one of us because that's the easy way out. Pick some people, give them a shout out, and we'll tag them in the, well, I say we'll tag them, Steve will tag them in the when we post this out.
Okay, so I found this really difficult because I absolutely love the community, and I've been thinking about it all day, which I don't know if that makes me a little bit sad, but I have been. But I've picked 3. So my first one would be her Instagram is Hayley_runs_here. So I started chatting to Hayley probably the beginning of 2022. We'd both signed up for Manchester, and she has honestly been a rock to me through everything, through marathon training. We both suffer with the same glute issue, so she keeps me accountable, and she'll send me a message and say, have you done your clams? Have you done your squats? Have you done your banded walks? She is amazing, and she is on such an incredible journey herself. She is also running London, so whilst I'm down there cheering you on, Steve, I'll also be cheering Hayley on massively.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was saying, I was about to put something out again. Who's actually going to watch on London? Because I don't know if I'm going to know anyone there.
I'm going, and I think Lucy's going as well. Lucy messaged me and said if she could tag along with me on the day. So I think me and Lucy will definitely be there.
Amazing.
My second shout out is for the Instagram is Running Fliss. So Fliss is quite local to me. She's probably about 45 minutes away from me. And she honestly she's got a heart of gold. She is an incredible runner. She ran a PB in Brighton on Sunday. She ran 3:21:54. So she absolutely smashed it. She did Brighton, and she's also doing Manchester. So she is back-to-back marathoning in between everything else that she does. But she is such an amazing support. inspiring, empowering, incredible woman, and luckily for me, I definitely get to call her my friend. So she'd definitely be my second shout out. And my third shout out would be to another local runner. And Steve, I know you speak to this runner regularly as well. It would be Sam.that.runs. I'm lucky that Sam lives about 15 minutes away from me, and when I was training for Tokyo, we would go to the track. I'd try and join him every week. Wasn't always possible due to work commitments, but Sam would do his session and then he would come and join me and make sure that I finished off my session. Wherever I had 3, 4 or 5 reps left of my session, he would be by my side, encouraging me and being that support that you need when those last few reps really do start to hurt. We've both agreed that we're going to commit to a summer of speed. We made our commitments to each other last night as to what times we'd be looking for. I'm not going to share them just in case obviously mine goes completely wrong. I'll keep that to myself. But yeah, and he absolutely smashed it at the weekend as well. He did London Landmarks half marathon. He wanted a sub 90 and he finished in 88:22. So he absolutely destroyed it. But he is someone I'm very lucky to have in my corner, and we have also agreed that we'll go for Pizza Express when I get home from Boston, so I think I'm super excited for that as well. So yeah, all 3 of them, and there is so many people that I could shout out, so many people. I just love it. I love the support. I love the community, and it really is great. But those 3 for me, yeah, Hayley, Fliss, and Sam, they have honestly been my rocks probably for the last 18 months, and yeah, I will hear from them all every day, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's on Instagram. I will hear from the 3 of them every day.
That is amazing.
I followed 2 of them, and now I'll follow all 3 of them. But I did recognise Fliss's face from one of your photos not so long ago from a park run. Yes,
we met a couple of weekends ago. We did park run. She came first female, second overall. Absolutely killed it. She makes it look so effortless.
She's rapid from her times. She is absolutely rapid.
Very rapid, definitely inspiring, but she is so encouraging and supportive of me and the journey that I'm on. And then yeah, after park run we went for brunch, which I think was even better than the park
run. It's the best part.
Yeah, what's better than running? Eating to fuel ourselves back up again.
There you go. I mean, yeah, I saw the Sam that runs. I saw his commitment to the time. I think I originally saw it through Craig sharing it, Craig the runner, and I made sure I looked out for it. I was actually there watching the London Landmarks, and I was thinking, will I see him? And I think I got there far too late to see the super speedies. But I did go for a little walk down the mall. And I was like, I was just picturing the finish line. I was like, I can see it. I can literally see it. This is brilliant. But they're great shouts. And me and Steve always struggle. I'm always struggling for A, who did I shout out last week? Because I don't make no notes on this sort of thing, so I might duplicate it. And B, there are so many people to whittle it down to like just 2 or 3, because everyone has their parts to play in your journey. So many.
It's definitely a hard thing it's a hard thing to pick people, but we have the benefit of being able to continue to do this and shout people out as we go. Now, they all look really spot on, and as I say, I followed 2, and now I follow all 3 of them. So we'll encourage everyone else to check out their accounts and give them a follow, as well as yourself, Hannah. If no one follows you already that's listening, they should 100% follow you and check out how you get on in 10 days' time.
I know, it's so exciting. I can't wait. It's not really sunk in yet, but yeah, I'm excited, and whatever happens, I will be proud of myself for getting on that start line, and even prouder when I make it to that finish line.
Yeah,
you should be.
So you 100%. Should be. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's all my questions. Time has flown by. It's been an enjoyable chat for our first guest.
Yeah, that's been
a very good one. We've basically learned that there's no point training.
Yeah. I was going to say we've learned a lot here. We've learned that you shouldn't train.
Don't train. You won't get injured. If you do train, you will get injured. This is brilliant stuff. Hannah, this has been revolutionary. I'm going to stop all of it. from now on.
Oh no.
I'm just gonna rock up.
You can only rock up if you promise that you will tell me at 7 miles that your feet hurt and that you can't run anymore. I might actually dig the video out and post it on my Instagram.
No, I'm going to be honest here. For long, I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the podcast. I don't think I ever told Steve. I used to turn up at half marathons and not train, and I would regret it every time. And every time I'd say I'm never doing that again, and then I'd just turn up the next year and do it again. So I can't really say too much about your turning up for a marathon.
Oh dear me, what is going on around here? I'll tell you what. Put yourself at mile 7 in a couple of weeks, and I'll shout out, "I'm fine." Run past you. And no one else knows what's going on apart from those that listen to this podcast. And the chance of them all being around you and having listened to this is quite slim because the amount of people that turn up. I'm fine. I'm probably going to run around with the pacers, to be fair. I'm going to float somewhere between the 3:15 and the 3:30 pacer and see what happens.
Sounds like a sensible idea.
Yeah, and then I'll just end up chucking it in and going to the pub.
Time will tell us, Dave. That's getting closer for you too.
It's getting closer and the paranoia is getting deeper.
I just feel for you, Hannah. That's going to be three majors in 1 year.
Yeah.
That's worthy of paranoia.
Fine. What's the worst thing that happens? I just turn up with no training again.
Well, you've experienced what the worst can happen with no water, I suppose. So now you can get through it all. You can get through anything.
I'll be fine.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and speaking to us. Sorry, Steve, I cut you off there.
No, I was literally going to say it's like Hannah's the marathon version of Dr. Pepper. What's the worst that can happen? just rock up.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out though, because we'll 100% have you back on once Boston's over to find out how you get on. We may have to leave it a little bit so you can get Chicago done as well, or we have you on 3 times.
Oh no, I definitely love to come back on and chat to you guys and let you know how I get on. But yeah, whether it's after Boston or once I've got my big shiny medal after Chicago, it's up to you guys. But I'd love to come back. Yeah,
we'd love to have you back. So it's been fantastic. Honestly, yeah. I think we've all learned a lot from your experiences, and to do 9 marathons. That melts my mind. That really does. And I'm only working up to my 3rd, and I think 3 and done will be me.
No, I said 1 and done, and now look what happened to me.
Well, you need to do at least 1 at home and 1 away. So you
hear me, Steve? I went off. I went, mate. It went on me. I was like, I'm not on mute. Why are they ignoring me?
You muted yourself. You did mute yourself.
No, I literally wasn't on mute for some reason. I moved about 3 foot to my right, and it decided to give out on me.
Oh, we were just saying how awesome you are, Steve. So it's okay. You didn't miss anything.
I know that. So it's fine.
Right.
No, but I just want to say thanks for being our first guest. It's been great, and we'll happily have you back. You will have to change your name to Steve.
I can be Stevena.
You can be Steph. You can do. We'll accept Steph as well. That's fine. You can be our first honorary Steph.
I feel privileged.
All right,
spot on. Step of the pod.
Oh well, no, we'll cut it there. And as I say, once again, thanks for coming on, Hannah. It's been spectacular. And just to remind anyone listening, please give Hannah a follow. Keep in touch with her journey as she goes through Boston and Chicago. So we're on to our community shout-outs now. This is becoming I want to say weekly. What's Laura done to us? She's ruined my head.
I might be seeing Laura as she runs around the landmark half tomorrow if I go down and watch it.
Go shout her out and tell her that she's ruined my mind. But it's not weekly. We're bi-weekly. We do our... I'm just melting down here. We are doing our community shout-outs every episode. But we are going to be doing a little bit of a difference here first, though, because we want to cover what we covered in the last episode when we shouted out both Emily and personal best, or Big Al. I'll call him Big Al because he is 6'8", so I'm calling him Big Al. And we love all the appreciation and responses that we've had, not only to the pages inbox, but also to our individual inboxes. Just the amount of love, not just for Al, but of how we responded to the shout out, or how we conducted the shout out. It was so well received by the audience. And as many of the audience members that did respond to us and kind of pat us on the back for it and share the love to Al, they did say in the best way possible. It's not that the brand, that Al wasn't ready for the brand. The brand weren't ready for Al. And I think that's the most important part. His content is spectacular. He is a really friendly, amazingly inspiring guy. The brand weren't ready for him. And that's,
do you know what I particularly enjoyed is he's really done a couple of days ago. He goes, they asked him, "Am I back?" "I'm back," and I was like, "That was brilliant."
Yeah, I
brilliant.
did see that one. He is still showing signs of the weight that it has had upon him, but he is getting there. And yeah, just go and show Al all the love that you can. He is fantastic. You won't regret following him. You won't regret it. His content is amazing. So yeah, that is as a repetition of last episode. That's person_Al_best. So personal best. But for the freshest shout out, Steve, do you want to go first on this one?
I might as well, because you might nick them.
Good.
Brilliant stuff. Already sort of touched on one of them. Ian runs marathons. Again, his content is quality, and he won't mind me saying, borderline in like yourself, Steve, a little bit cringe on some of them, but they're so cringe, they're amazing that you carry and watch them, and you watch them again a couple times over because they're brilliant. They want to make you look away, but just let me see what happens. No, it's still there. It's still there. So he's one. So at Ian runs marathons. Very simple. Snoddish, at Snoddish, Matt Taylor. He's actually, I believe he's running London. He's got a little bit of an issue at the moment where he's had a potential issue with his leg, and he was going to get seen by a physio, but hopefully he can be okay for London. Just realised that by looking at the DMs. I do apologise. So Snoddish, he was saying hopefully Anthony Joshua doesn't put him off, because last time, can't remember what mile it was, but Anthony Joshua was handing out Lucas aids to the runners. Nice bit of PR stuff going there. That's a way to put people off. I might be stealing one from you here, or you might have done it already before. But Rachel McPherson.
No, I haven't shouted at Rachel. I've said her name a few times on the podcast, but no, I'm not shouting at Rachel. I haven't done that yet.
I believe she was one doing Paris, right? Is that right?
She's doing Paris as her first marathon, and yet she's also part of the Loch Ness team.
Of course. I wanted to try and be a part of that, but it's my daughter's uncle's 30th birthday that weekend, so I kind of can't.
Take him up. He can be part of the team too.
I doubt it's going to happen, mate. I can't lie to you.
I have to caveat that by saying #not a cult. That'll be familiar for anyone that's following the content on Instagram.
Sounds like a cult. And then the last one, I only want to do 3, because otherwise week on week I'm going to run out. I don't think I've shouted this one out before. The _running_ class teacher. Steve, have I shouted him out? Does it sound familiar?
Nope, you've never shouted him out before.
Fantastic. So him, he is a super great guy. He's a primary school teacher. Not too shabby on the pace. His sort of PB for 5K is 19:17. Got a glorious beard, like myself. Don't know if you noticed, growing it. And he's running the London Marathon equally as well. He's had, like Snoddish, a little bit of a niggle that was required physio, but he's been very, very smart, and he backed out of some training heavily for a couple of weeks, and now he looks like he's back on the upward trajectory. Sort of changing his plan, but I did say to him, look, it's your first one, so just enjoy it. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Go out and enjoy it. So they are my three
Nice.
shout-outs.
Spot on. There is no repetition there. None of them have been shouted out before. You may have nicked Rachel from me, but that is glad.
Oh yeah!
I'm glad that she's got a shout out. So that's
I feel like that
important.
Kool-Aid guy in
Family Guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh. So
Off you go, sir.
For me, I only had two, but I'm going to tag a third one on here because, and I'll explain why. It's a story that'll have.
You want to copy Steve?
Yes, it's a Steve thing. Steve's copy Steve's. I have for my first one, Nick Knack Grad Runs, and that's Nikki. It turns out Nikki actually worked with one of my cousins before in the profession that she does. But Nikki is fantastic. She's always in my DMs, always sharing the love in my comments. Also a fellow Electric Callboy fan. For anyone that's been following my reels, you would have seen a karaoke of Electric Callboy. She's super supportive. She's always got my back, and I would like to think, as I've said in previous, that I show as much love back to any of the people that I'm shouting out as they show to me. But no, Nikki is fantastic and has already indicated that she would love to be a member of the 99 Club. But also, not only that, she wants merchandise. Which is a bit of a headache for me to then try and figure that out, but we'll get there. We'll get some merchandise hopefully once we get the club set up. You can get the website set up first. I'm getting there. I am getting there.
Oh, Steve, hurry up.
My second shout out is someone who we already mentioned. We've not shouted him out before, but mentioned earlier in the episode, and that is Bob Barrell, the Kilsyth runner, previous guest to the Press Play and Run podcast. If you haven't heard that episode, go and listen to it. Bob is fantastically inspirational. He's an absolute machine. He is gonna smash all the runs he's got. He's got, as I say, Manchester. He's got Edinburgh as well. He's an ambassador there. And he is just truly inspirational with the work that he puts into the running community and the love that he puts out to everyone. So that's for Bob and Nikki. Now, the third one that I'm tagging on here, again, I don't know if she listens to the podcast, but I will tell her that she's a shout out, and hopefully we gain another listener out of it. And that is a lass called Steph. Her handle is running_journey 2023 in numerals. She unfortunately had her high. She was on an absolute high this morning, popped by someone. Now, I'll explain why, and it'll be clearer. So she's only just recently kind of kicked off a running journey again. And she went to what I think actually was her first park run this morning. Absolutely smashed her park run. And she got a PB in her 5K, her 2 mile, her 1 mile, her 1K, her half mile, and her 400 meters. And she was quite rightfully so on a massive high. She was riding the wave. And then someone, for whatever reason, went into the park runs data to find out what the times were, and went, I think you'll find that's not a PB for you. That's your second fastest time. Now, who does that? And then he's also in the past said to her, now it's a guy, and we're not necessarily feminists, but we are shouting out all these guys that are absolute tubes. You have to be better, guys. But he said to her, your time for a 5K is my time for a 10K. Come on. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, guys. We don't like to swear on this podcast, but not bad.
I'm not even going to mute that one out. I'm not even going to, because it's true. I'm being very, very tame here, because I would just want to call him all the expletives under the sun. She's absolutely smashed what she was doing today. And one person, now I don't know if they'll ever listen to this. If they do, be better. Learn from your mistake. You don't have to put people down like that. That is not on. And I sent her a message and just said, look, ignore him. And she has thankfully blocked him. But Strava's given a certain set of data there. Now, we all know Strava's not 100% accurate, but neither's Parkrun. Parkrun is done by volunteers to the closest that they can make it to 5K. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're short. Doesn't mean that the time that the timekeeper at Parkrun did for her was 100% accurate. I would say in that case, Strava's more accurate. So whoever that guy was, take yourself off Instagram. You're not helping anyone. I don't mean to put anyone down, but that is not on.
Well said, and very, very tame. I'm not being funny, right? And I had this conversation with Lucy Olympia, and she done a personal best 5K, but it wasn't at an event. And someone was like, well, is it really a personal best? Well, yeah, it doesn't matter if you run it with an official chip time or it's done by your Garmin watch, and you can clearly say if it's a 21:07 and it says elapsed time 21:07. I mean, what do you need a big event? A bag drop?
Yes,
do you need a bag drop to be a PB?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. We all know that Strava has its downfalls. Any of these pace tracking apps, the data loggers, they're not 100% accurate. And it's on race day, whether you accept your Strava time or whether you accept your chip time. Chip times should be more accurate. They should be measuring them out. But again, it's all technology. It's much and such. Take from it what you want to get from it. If you're cheating it and then you're gaining nothing from it, you're cheating yourself. But at the end of the day, what Steph had done, she was quite rightfully ecstatic about it. And nobody needs to, man, woman, non-binary, whoever it is, you don't need to be putting other people down from their achievements. You have to raise them up because you would want to be raised up yourself.
To me, it just speaks volumes of the sort of person it is. So if you are that person, right, and you can't do better, just do nothing, I guess.
Well, that's it. I think, to finish this one off, the Rob from the What the Fartlick podcast, he has, if you ever listen to that, just put his outro into your mindset. If you can't be nice, just get in the sea. That's in essence, that's what he says, and that's what we're saying. If you can't be nice, it's a basic human decency to be nice to people. You don't have to be the word that Steve said.
Don't be like that on Instagram. That's what they do on Twitter. So if you want to be like that, go on Twitter where you can all complain about other runners.
Exactly.
That's what happens over there.
That's why they have. That's why they have a very similar sounding thing as Twitter as their nicknames.
Yeah, knobhead.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that one more time because Steve's let me swear on the podcast.
I have to mark it as an expletive podcast, but I'm not letting you say anything else. No, but we're going to move on to a bit of a longer outro today. So we've already said that our next episode 7, is going to be a special where I interview Steve again ahead of his second London Marathon. But we want to put a big appeal to anyone running London Marathon, or if you happen to know someone who's running London Marathon, a friend, a follower, a passerby, let us know who they are, what their handle is, and we will add them to a monster of a shout out list. And we'll try and learn a little bit about all these people as well. If we have them early enough, it won't just be a name and that's it. We'll try and learn a little bit about their story. But if you are running it yourself, definitely get yourself on the list. We want to shout you out. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic to learn a little bit about Steve's training in more detail, because he does skim over a lot of the stuff, and we want to kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive from it, so we can be the best cheer squad possible. But I don't know what you're thinking, Steve. It's going to be a bit of a monster, I think, but we'll try and keep it all London aimed.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna want to try. I mean, what date is it gonna be out? 21st.
It's the Friday of so this one's out. The date is the 7th. Then the 21st is the next episode 7. Yeah. So yeah, you're running on the Sunday.
I sort of won't go into for what I put in my bag, because by the time that happens, most people would have gone like Wednesday, Thursday, and some point on Friday would have gone to the expo and picked their bags up and this, that, and the other. Actually, that being said, you'll have your bags. If you are listening on that Friday, I could go through what thing you might be thinking. What do I put in my bag? What do I can see what I put in my bag. So we'll go through a bit of that.
Yeah, personally, I would say that would be really helpful, Steve, because there's going to be a lot of first-time runners there, and even experienced runners, and you can always forget something, and it might jog their memory.
Yeah. So we'll do a bit of that, a bit of how the training's gone from beginning through, and whatever it is that you want to questions you come up with, what you ask. And what I will say is, anyone that is running London, let me know what day you're going to the expo. If we're sort of there at the same time, I can say hi. I don't mind. I love meeting new runners and whatnot. So if you are doing London, and you sort of know roughly what day ish and time you're going to be there within reason. Obviously, things can pop up at any moment, and you end up changing plans. But I have no problem being approached at all. So you see me, just say hi. See me on the course, say hi. One chap did, and he asked for a selfie. So just crack on, you know.
And Steve, if you see anyone running away from you, don't take it to heart. They probably know that the smoother voiced accent, the smoother voiced accent, Steve isn't there. They're running away from you.
Me at the back, like picking your nose. All right, come here.
But that's really it from us this episode. We hope you've enjoyed this monster, because it is going to be well in excess of an hour and a half, I think, at this rate. And we really hope you've enjoyed the discussion we had with our first guest. And of course, please share some love with the fabulous Hannah, as she ticks down her days until Boston. But otherwise, and as always, please get in touch with us. Follow us on socials, get in our own inboxes, get in the podcast inbox, rate the podcast, give us a review, do all the really great stuff that's going to help us grow and thrive, especially if you are liking what you're hearing. You can find us on Instagram at the .99 podcast, not the 91 podcast. Where did that come from? At the .99 podcast. You can tell it's been a monster of an episode, this one. And as I say, our DMs are always open. So if you just want even a chat or anything, just let us know. Alternatively, you can email us at the .99podcast@gmail.com. I'm going to play the little violin here and say no one's actually emailed us yet, apart from all our data sites and all the kind of things that go with it. So if you want to be the first person to send us something nice in the inbox, please do. Or otherwise, you can find myself on Instagram at Mr_Steve_runs, and the interview extraordinaire himself. You can find you where, Steve?
At Runnerman Steve.
But until next time, we hope your runs are positive and that the good vibes and motivation flow. And remember to get involved with the new hot trend of running karaoke, as kicked off by the Happy Diet, Kaylee. We'll cover that and more, like news on the 99 Club, in the coming episodes. But yeah, get involved, stay safe, and keep smashing all your goals.
Yes, I mean, enjoy the Maranoia, people. No, seriously. It's kick the Maranoia's backsides. Trust the plan. You know, if you trust the plan when the miles go up week on week, and you trust the deload week, trust the plan. Now, you're all going to have to tell me that as well, because I'm going to be on stories going, I've got Maranoia, someone just sneezed next to me, I need some bubble wrap. Can anyone find me an orb just to sit in? I'm calling in sick for the next 3 weeks. No, but genuinely, people, stay safe. Smash out all these marathons that are coming up, London landmarks, all the little lower, sort of less
prominent,
publicised events.
And prominent, yes.
So if you see those, shout each other out. Equally, we are doing, next one would be London Marathon, but if there are some events that happen around the same time, we'll share the love. It's not all about London, we're not, it's just because what I'm going to be doing. But if you've got like a privately run event where there's only about 200 of you doing it, let us know. I want to know all about it, because there are things you don't see. You don't see everyone going, oh, we got this, we got that. Otherwise, enjoy it all, have fun, look after yourself, and speak to you again soon.
Spot on, well said, and that is us out. Bye-bye.
Bye.